Welcome back. We're heading into the final game of Week 1 with Team Dragon Knights versus Gravity. Both of these teams start the day 0-1 and are looking to end the week with a mark in the win column here.
Yeah, and even though TDK are playing with a team that is more than half made up of subs, they still had glimmers of hope in their loss against Team Liquid.
Yeah, Bishu got that 1 versus 1 kill, highlight play for himself when Phoenix went a little bit too far. Seraph, he is actually up in lane over Quas, which is definitely an accomplishment. Quas has had a really, really good weekend. And then Kez was able to get that first blood, wrapped around down to the bottom lane and got that counter gank.
Now, but of course, TDK made some big mistakes and were outplayed in a few team fights around the map.
Yeah. Gravity, even though that TDK was getting outplayed across the map, Gravity, on the other side, though, they lost a very close game to enemy Esports. They were in a position to win, but they struggled with their decision-making and were unable to close out the game.
Now, Gravity lost a lot of experience when veterans Saint and Cop stepped down, and it may take time for them to rebuild their shot calling. Of course, the split is only 1 day old, so they still, have a lot of time for them to work on that element of their game.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tough for us to give him too much flack for that one. Well, as we throw it over to the desk, Alltech says Gravity can provide him with with all of the resources he needs to improve his individual game.
I think on Gravity, there's a lot of room for me to grow just because I respect Cop a lot as a player, and he's an 80 player, so he can help me a lot. And everyone on the team is really chill, and everyone's really good at the game as well. So I think the environment's really nice, and then there's obviously room to improve every day.
Yeah, and I mean, if one thing Gravity had last split, it was a very nice environment for Alltech to kind of enter into, and it is nice to have the experience of Cop. That was a guy who played in pretty much every single LCS game up until the point where he switched over to be a coach. Probably every single game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was one of, yesterday was the first time he missed an LCS game, so Cop breaking the streak here. I guess C9 did the same thing with their switch over to Incarnation. Either way, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Team Dragon Knights. In the top lane, Seraph. In the jungle is Kez. In the mid is Bishu. And the AD carry is Latman. And the support is Baby.
And on the red side, also looking to pick up their first win of the split, it is Gravity, with Haunter in the top lane, Move, their new jungler, replacing St. Vicious, Keen in the mid lane, Alltech, as we just saw, taking over for Cop on AD carry, and the ever-wonderful Bunny Fufu on support.
And if you look close enough in the player cams, you can actually see Coach Cop behind them on Gravity as well.
He really dressed up well.
Yeah.
He had like a nice-fitting suit, which is difficult to get for like the tall and skinny type people. He looked good.
Yeah, props to that one. If you watch the Challenger scene enough, there's a lot of songs about looking good. Props to the playlist there on that one. It's probably one of my favorite songs either way. So yeah, the players are filling into champ select. It is worth mentioning, by the way. TDK,
we're missing a lot of bands.
We're gonna miss 4 bands this game. So TDK, if you guys missed the announcement yesterday, basically filed their roster late as...
Well, they were just too late declaring their substitutes.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, or even a valid roster.
Sure. I mean, you can boil it down like oversimplified as I was doing. Essentially, by filing the roster late, they lost all 3 bans from both yesterday's and today's games. The Gravity penalty, they lose 1 ban, as I believe it was Keen talking during a pause. So we're going to get a champ select a minute and a half into it, like once we've missed 3 of them, and then
as soon as the law enforcement leaves from within the team, people talk during a pause.
Yeah, right. Suddenly,
what is going on with
Suddenly rule breaking when cops aren't there to shut you up. So unfortunately, we'll have to see what these teams do when you only have 2 bans in the game. That'll be, I guess, a little bit different.
There's a lot of potential for some exciting things in this game from a spectator point of view. Maybe not necessarily from like a really high-quality strategic game, because first off, only 2 bans. So that completely kind of changes the complexion of the champions we're going to end up seeing. So a lot of stuff that normally is just straight up banned away. On top of that, we have TDK, who's playing with 3 substitutes that they haven't had much practice with. They had a good start, but then kind of a chaotic later game. And Gravity, who are missing a lot of veteran leadership in-game. Cop and St. Vicious are missing, and there was kind of a lack of that in their last game, which could end up creating a little bit of chaos in this one, and we could end up getting a very high-kill bloody game.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely for us to have a high-kill and bloody game here. And the question is then how... can these guys, how quickly can these guys learn the shot calling they need, right? What are TDK's goals in the meantime, right? If it takes them a while to get their intended starters together, this is a lineup that's going to play like a third or maybe half their split or something. TDK should probably learn to play with this lineup and really grow their players' shot calling and their coordination as fast as possible. Gravity, this is their intended lineup, but they're kind of just starting now to really put things together. And growth, I think, needs to be fast for them. This is the split that leads to Worlds.
Yeah, and as the analyst desk was saying during the intro, Kez and Seraph did quite well in their game.
Absolutely.
As well as they could do, really. I mean, Seraph on top lane Rumble against a Gnar, Quas's Gnar obviously ended up carrying the game. But CS itself, for a Rumble to hit 200 CS before a Gnar is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
And Seraph was able to do it in that game. Kez as well really had a nice, unique gank path early on in the game to get himself first blood, actually. So those two, the core TDK members, you could say,
Yeah.
performed well.
Yeah, I mean, Kez has been a shot caller for a while. He was one of the big voices back on Complexity way back in the day, and the team was sort of built almost by Seraph himself. Like, those are the two guys who definitely matter a whole lot as far as one goes, so we'll see how their leadership can bring the rest of TDK together in this one. And the rest of the individual contributions, I guess, are going to be interesting to watch. Bishu, he had that really cool big play that we showed yesterday with his 1v1 over Phoenix, and yeah, it was cool. And now we get ourselves halfway through Champ Select, and we have begun with what else? A Nidalee ban against Seraph.
Oh man, of all the champions. So yeah, interestingly enough, only one ban left. Obviously, TDK has to let the timer go down all the way and not press a ban. We've already waited out the loss of ban for Gravity, as well as this will now be the second or third loss of ban for TDK, so we're very close
final.
to full-on champion select.
Yep. The pick phase starts in about 20 seconds from now. And of course, yeah, Gravity has nothing to account for. They just plan the two out and click them right away. There's no discussion that should be required. The Kez, Evelyn as well. Those are probably the two bans that I expect to see frequently for the rest of the TDK split, unless we start seeing other trends arise from these players. Graga's first pick, though, Kez looks like he's going to get that champion with only the one jungle ban coming through.
Yeah, so what's been taking up a lot of ban space throughout the LCS week have been the double jungle bans. Generally, one team will ban Gragas, the other team will ban Rek'Sai to make sure you can't get the other. This time, since TDK had first pick, the option of a single jungle ban wasn't there for Gravity. Therefore, they end up letting both of them through, and we'll probably end up seeing Rek'Sai on the other side. Or maybe a strange pick from Move. He does play a few crazy things. This jungler who was EDG's sub-blaster in the OPL. Last split.
Well, yesterday he played Nunu for himself. We'll see if that becomes a trend he wants to continue on. Hanser gets Hecarim. This is a champion he plays very frequently, and Bunny Fufu getting Alistar. Every single person seems to be jumping on that hype train.
Yeah, it's real. Alistar hype train is real. So much turret diving potential at level 6. People really looking to snowball any early advantage they get. Also, a fairly team fight heavy focused meta, and Alistar can do work in those team fights. Pick has just kind of been on the outskirts of support play for so long, this seems to break through the wall.
Oh, the crowd chants for Bard. Not going to see him this game. Sorry, guys. Vladimir picked up here. Could go to Bishu or Seraph, I suppose. Baby wants Thresh, so it looks like TDK hiding pretty much all their lane matchups. That Vlad flex pick can help them just a little bit here. Hiding AD carry in one of the solo lanes.
Yeah. So, what kind of ended up happening here, because there weren't many power pick bans, one of the reasons some things are banned or picked early is because they don't really have many bad matchups, which actually makes this pick and ban phase like less strategically interesting if all they're doing is just picking the strong stuff that is good in blind pick situations.
Like Hecarim and Alistar.
And that's generally what's happened so far. Thresh, Alistar, Gragas,
Yeah.
and whatever jungle Gravity wants to pick here.
Now, what does Move want to play? Altec wants Jinx here for the carry pants.
Lee Sin.
It brings up Lee Sin. One jungle ban, one jungle pick. Lee Sin coming through. I believe the second time we've seen him now this split in the NA LCS.
Yeah,
That one being
Smithy.
Smithy. Yep.
COD's victory.
True. One of the two. All right, so Gravity have saved their mid pick for last to make sure Keen can have a good matchup up against Bishu. TDK has to decide where this Vladimir actually goes. They know it's Hecarim top. They know it's Lee Sin jungle. So a very scary top lane duo for Gravity if those two champions do show up.
Definitely. I mean, Bishu could take the Vladimir mid lane as well.
Opens up a lot of easy farm matchups against him. We saw Kog'Maw do incredibly well from Incarnation in that matchup.
Keen may always want to pull out the Azir. Interesting choices here from TDK. Victor is known as a pretty good blind pick mid laner as well.
I want Astra Saber here if they go Victor.
Too bad.
Yeah, too bad. TDK not... So, a very mid-range focused team fight, like mid-range focused team fight comp. Vladimir, Victor, Lucian. Problem is, no reliable way to start those fights. The Gravity can kind of play from a distance potentially and make life really difficult. Like, this is actually, lane matchup notwithstanding, kind of a good AP Kog'Maw game. They're just not going to reach you.
What about Bard mid? That would work too.
Great. Bard mid. It's AP Alistair, actually. We're pulling back to Season 1 style. Shoe chase in this game. And it is going to be Bard.
I'll agree with that. It's a pretty short-range composition overall for TDK with a lot of damage potential. Basically, they have to play very well around Gragas and Thresh if they want to start the team fights. The one reliable initiation for TDK would be a Gragas flash body slam into a knockback to the rest of the TDK team. And kind of like we saw yesterday, I feel like TDK is looking...
Oh, he is!
He wasn't lying to me.
Go.
Backstory. As casters, we have clients into the game here. He's not playing Malphite. It's probably Hanser. Maybe
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
Yeah. We have clients to observe the game. Keen messaged me. He said, hi. As a troll, I was like, what are you going to play? He said, the champion I'm playing right now. And he was in-game as Malphite. He doesn't mess around. Keen speaks truth.
Wanted to make a statement here. Okay, so letting all mid laners available, Bishu picks up Victor as the one he wants to play, and Keen says, how about them counter picks? Let me play Malphite in this matchup.
Yeah. This is actually pretty awesome for Gravity.
Yeah.
I mean, if he pre-planned the Malphite, so I can't say, wow, he was planning this as a Victor counter pick. But honestly, Victor excels in mid-range, but is somewhat weak to things that can close into his threat window before Victor's able to touch them, and Malphite is one of those champions. AP Malphite, Unstoppable Force, can one-shot a Victor, especially when comboed with a Hecarim. So, a very devastating combo. Hecarim Malphite from Gravity.
Hecarim Malphite, the backline. There's an Alistair to help as well, by the way. Like, the amount of burst there is stupid good. I feel bad. I feel bad for Latman now. I'm glad he's not playing Ashe anymore, because he would just die right away every single time.
Ashe would have been a very poor choice.
It would have been bad. Now there's one more time for you guys to head over to Twitter and vote for who you think is going to win. Tweet at LOL Esports with your pick. You either hashtag TDK win or hashtag GV win for the mid Malphite here. One of these is way more crazy.
At least if Latman would have picked Ashe, he would have had global Hawkshot.
True.
Which is, whew.
So we can see Malphite coming before Unstoppable Force kills him.
Yeah.
Now, it is worth pointing out, last time we saw mid Malphite commonly was EU LCS, and I want to say early 2014, and that was with Deathfire Grasp still as an item. So if he still goes for AP Malphite, and he's got 24 AP, so he is.
Oh, he's full AP here.
Yeah. I want to see what the build ends up being.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. Generally, AP Malphites have been Magic Pen heavy, so I'm expecting something like an Abyssal Scepter rush into Sorcerer's Shoes, or he'll go with a little bit of mana regen first. It's just hard to see him building in Athenes when he can go Abyssal and burst super hard.
Yeah.
Which is what he needs to do in this game to ultimately be effective. Keen's done a few unconventional picks before they're ready. I mean, the Fizz mid he was doing, he did Abyssal Scepter Frozen Heart on mid lane Fizz when he was like super. He was the AD Fizz time, but he was still building like tank magic.
Yeah, it worked too.
Yeah,
it was like a high CDR tank Fizz, and he was just like stupid annoying. Bishu ran heal this game, which is surprising to me. I think he'd have to expect Ignite mid, right, from the AP Malphite. I feel like heal's just not good against Ignite when you have things like Barrier or Exhaust.
I do like the fact that Bishu has gone a defensive summoner.
Absolutely.
On Victor, I'm a big fan of double defensive summoner. On the really high sustained damage mid lane mages like Cassiopeia, Azir, and Victor fits in that club as well. At least against Malphite, Barrier is probably a pretty good choice. Because you can use it right as the ult too. That's the choice. Heal, a little bit more utility, but he will be vulnerable to that Ignite, as you said.
Well, we'll see how it ends up playing out. Should be some fun things happening. So a lane swap coming in, by the way. Seraph is 1v1ing up against all tech right now. Buddy people will be joining in. Move and Hanser are double jungling. Blue buff did go to Lee Sin. I'm actually surprised at that. They didn't give it away to Hanser.
Yeah, double smite jungling as well. So Hanser for the slightly late gamer tanky Hecarim. With the double jungle, I'll be interested to see how Seraph can keep up an experience here. It's a dangerous world. He didn't have to burn his teleport to get to lane though, so as long as he doesn't get all in, he can keep this up. And they're trying desperately to get their support here before they'd be able to get ganked. But if it's a 4-man gank, they'd actually need 3 people under the turret to stop it successfully.
That's true. Right now, though, they didn't manage to freeze Gravity in the top lane. So Seraph is getting experience, it seems, for the most of this. Actually, no, I take it back. Looks like it did freeze. There's a slight minion lead here. And Baby's going to show up to support. Vladimir should be fairly safe then, unless Haunter and Move go crazy. They get Scuttler, but they get spotted by the ward. And Move's alone over here. Deep Trinket to try to track Kez.
I think it's a good strategy by Gravity to do this lane swap against TDK as a sub-squad. If anything is remarkably different than the solo queue game and competitive, it is the world of lane swaps. It's almost like playing a different game. So it's basically now on Kez and Seraph to just really quickly teach TDK on all the things they need to do to not fall prey to common lane swap tactics like a 4-man dive, which honestly Baby did fairly well. He made it to the lane pretty quick. He then placed defensive wards, which would give them heavy advanced warning of a 4-man dive, and Gravity ends up not going for it.
All right, so looks like we just have awkward 2-on-2s all the same. Hecarim did teleport in. Haunter, by the way, as you mentioned in the jungling time, Smite teleport Hecarim, so we will see challenging Smite Cinderhulk out of that guy, most likely. 1v1ing this Latman Lucian. I wonder how many times he's actually 1v1 to Hecarim in solo queue, and I'm going to guess not many times.
Yeah, these guys were on Frank Fan Gaming as well, though, so they have...
Yeah.
I shouldn't say they're straight out of solo queue. That's
true, that's true. They're a pretty successful challenger team.
Yeah, so they definitely have done this before. It's just on an LCS level. Sometimes it's a little bit different, but they're dealing quite well with this.
Keen actually doing reasonably well in this matchup against Bishu, slowly chunking health down. Potions for the victor. Nice try.
Oh, they were trying to track the projectile. Too slow, observers. Try next time.
Yeah, great.
Completely unnecessary.
It's good. It's the day of smack talk. I like
Now
it.
every champion I talk about will just be off-screen.
Man, Alistar mid's so cool, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah!
Hi, Alistair.
Even the players are helping.
Yeah, this early game from the mid lane Malphite, pretty standard spell build for the solo lane Malphite. Max in Q and then no points in W because you just want to maximize your burst damage here. Also, he's got a decent range trade there. Bishu early on in the game can't really break through the passive shield of Malphite at the moment. So Kane's happily farming on this mid Malphite. Nicely done.
Yeah, until he gets some mana regen, you can't easily spam E to push Keen around. So you're right, breaking the passive nearly impossible for him. Right now, Altec has been swapped back to the bottom lane with a pickaxe.
Yeah, Latman's returned after his projectile, according to the observers, disappeared. So no one could follow that. So they claim.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, though, it's a pretty big XP edge for Latman. He had a lot of free time down in that bottom lane to get this 36 or so CS. Not as much farm, but a little bit more experience because he was 1v1. It's going to be on Haunter now to try and not fall behind since the lanes have swapped back, and he will be against Sarah's Vladimir, who's going to be turning on pretty quick.
Absolutely. He got a little bit of time to get some experience in a roughly safe lane. Has a minion lead as well, level 5 on the Vladimir. No real threatening items from Haunter. He's actually not even recalled to buy anything yet. Deep ward. Smart by Haunter, gets it over the wall towards Grump. Very common for top laners, but good to see that continue to proliferate among all these top laners here. Kez gets spotted as he takes down the Scuttle Crab, and Haunter is going to be in this one-on-one. Should be safe against this Gragas. Move getting some time to counter jungle.
They really want to dive Bishu.
Ooh. They know Kez is fairly close by. They saw him take down Scuttle.
Are they going to get in as soon as Kez walks around the corner? No,
Kez
they're
says hi?
calling it off.
Okay. Ooh, and he loses the Raptor buff too from that ward in the brush. So small loss there. Level 6 Latman Lucian has been playing his lanes fairly passively. Did the same against the Team Liquid dual lane as well.
It's true. Had a good early gank in that game from Kez, but with the lane swap in this one, it cut down on the creativity they could do because they were trying to just keep up with Gravity's lane swapping. Interesting picking the Lee Sin into the Gragas as well.
Yeah.
I'm much more okay with the Lee Sin pick in this context than I would be if they were up against one of the other tank junglers. Basically, one of the reasons Gragas has been so dominant is he is one of the tank junglers that still provides so much early game pressure.
Yeah.
But Lee Sin can match that early game pressure, and unlike someone like a Sejuani who's a huge monster in like super late game team fights, Gragas does have like a 40-minute fall off where he will provide the utility of the ultimate, but won't be doing a huge amount of damage. And Lee Sin follows a somewhat similar path where he can pull off the initiation, and he's still able to get tanky if he goes for it. So it's not as mismatched late game as some of the other matchups would be.
Yeah, you're right about that one. Right now, though, it is, if we haven't mentioned this yet, Warrior Lee Sin, so he'll be squishy for a while. Has actually bought regular old green wards, so still spending some money on that one. Also went Trailblazer, so not a combat smite either. Kind of interesting to see Move's choices here. Will keep him full health almost the entire time through the jungle, so that he can gank with a decent enough health bar and not have to spend too much money on potions. Second recall for Latman. He ulted the wave and then backed for an Avarice Blade, so trying to bank up money for a while. Happy to play a bit of a slower game and just money, money, money for a while. Keen got his blue buff. Looks like he's going towards Abyssal after all. That's what the Blasting Wand should be for here.
Yeah, because of the Avarice, though, Altec will have enough for a BF sword. That could sway that lane pretty heavily if they end up trading. So Gravity is kind of slowly pulling ahead in some of these lanes. And so much respect has to be given to Keen's AP Malphite here, coming back with the Blasting Wand already. Any opportunity he might go.
Whoa! Whoa! Yeah, well, good timing, Jack. Good flash by Bishu. Gets away from Move's Q, though. Double Summoner's heal use as well. Ulti from Altec. Oh! What? Tracker, they're sway observers. It went off the screen. They missed another projectile.
Right there.
Good dodge.
Oh, man. I believe the ward probably gave him a little bit of an advanced warning as it came through.
Orkez yelling, oh God, rocket, dodge it.
He does so. Interesting there. The fact that Keen flashed in for his Unstoppable Force instead of just going for it. He would have been in range for a max range one, but he decided to try and make it more instantaneous so it wouldn't get flashed immediately. Which technically successful, it's just they can't come up with the kill.
Ooh, good hook by Baby. Altec gonna get pulled almost into turret range, but look at that damage from Latman. Gets one crit from the Avarice Blade on the attacks over there. Altec quite low on the end of it all. Bunny Fufu buying a bit of time. Time to regen.
Yeah, Move's still going to try and make a play there. Couldn't get his ultimate off yet, and they have already swept here.
They don't know there aren't wards in that brush.
With Bunny Fufu at level 6, the dive becomes a very real possibility.
This is frozen right in front of the turret. Like, this is going to be so hard for him to dive this. Seraph has teleport for a counter gank. Han's going to play aggressively. Challenging might used as well, and Seraph is going to get a fair bit of health.
Nice harass there by Latman.
Yeah. Kez coming to show up top as well. Is seen by a ward, and now Gravity knows there is no Gragas counter gank available. If they go for the bot lane, Altec losing more health, though. Getting heavily worn down by Latman.
Yeah, that's 2 or 3 piercing lights in a row the Latman has been able to weave through the minion while getting the last hit and hit Altec. Really getting good harass out considering he's down a BF sword essentially and trading by getting that poke in with the piercing light that Altec can't trade back.
Yeah, absolutely impressive. Now you pick Lucian primarily, I would say 70% for the laning phase, and that is something he's doing quite well. Move gets the smite steal, loses the buff to a nearby ward, but still getting the Raptor away from Bishu is quite nice. Keen does still nurse a small minion lead in this 1v1 match. The mid Malphite is winning lane against Victor, someone we typically consider a strong laner. So, so far so good from mid AP Malphite, to be completely fair. The rotation in the mid lane, Gravity do call someone aggressive, and this is going to lose a lot of health.
Yeah, Malphite's also a pretty strong laner as well, as we're seeing early shield just off of Malphite's passive, making it difficult to trade, as well as his actual trading with the max in his Seismic Shard is pretty big. Oh, hello, Hanser.
And the team is coming in soon. Flame by Baby does not really stop the damage. Hanser in with the box, moves around, teleport for Seraph as well. Latman out of mana, he won't do much. A kick knocks back Baby. Moves forced out though. First blood goes in. The rocket from Altec now to join the fight. Nice dash by Latman. Gets away from Bunny Fufu. Seraph gonna puddle out as well. Kez to ditch them all back, and a 1-for-1.
Yeah, all 5 members were coming down there. The mid laners are ready to join as well, but yeah, it is just a 1-for-1. Move seemed to disappear right there. No defensive stats whatsoever so far in his build. You can really see the squishiness coming through right there as he got blown up. But I would say advantage Gravity out of that trade because Altec got the kill for himself, whereas Baby, as a support, will not be able to make as good use of that kill gold.
Yeah, even though it was first blood for TDK, so like technically more gold earned, I agree with you. The correct person got that money. Keen now getting harassed around a little bit. Doesn't seem to care anyway. Chugging away on that flask and being nice and happy. Ooh, that's the second death ray in a row, though. This harass is starting to add up.
And critically, it was before Keen could let his shield refresh, so it did the full amount of damage. And now Keen basically just has to go back to base.
He can afford Abyssal Scepter.
Or just wait for his health to come back up.
That's true. I do think getting Abyssal, maybe after this wave, is worth doing, though. It is a pretty important item to spike up with. Seraph looks like he's got plenty of pushing power right now against Hanser. Cinderhulk done on the Hecarim. No teleport for either top laner. Dragon, of course, is back up now. Looks like the team's not prioritizing it very heavily. Seraph actually starting to go pretty hard on Hanser. Yeah, out he goes. Yeah. 400 health left.
Yeah, Seraph at that critical level 9 for Vladimir. Able to vamp up so heavily already with that Will of the Ancients, but just a Cinderhulk completed by Hanser, so no magic resistance. It's a really big power spike at the moment for Seraph before Hanser can get the MR. And he gets that no magic right away, and he's going to need to fly back to that lane to save the turret.
Well, no home guards because no upgraded boots yet. Hanser's not going to fly back too quickly, unfortunately. Second time in a row, we're seeing Seraph seemingly winning his lane, at least in minion score.
Yeah, well, he was absolutely decimating people in the Challenger Series.
Yeah.
Like, the Seraph that was on CLG is much different than the Seraph that we're seeing now for, you know, a number of ways. Whether it's experience, he also improved as a player, but just the environment he has in TDK. This is his team. He's not on someone else's team. And it reflects in his play, even in the Challenger Series, and 2 games in a row now in the LCS, winning his lane.
Challenging Smite in the dash once more. Hanser really trying to push Seraph around and actually chunking him down to half HP, but guess what? It's Will the Ancients, Vladimir. I don't know how long you keep him really down for, but Hanser does make some progress off this one. TP's still 2.5 minutes away on this one. Latman gonna push around Altec. Decent damage dealt, actually. Dragon's still on the table. Both teams starting, looks like now to really put some wards down. Gravity, a lot of defensive pink wards, and now a couple of aggressive green ones. Still only single sight stone, though.
Interesting rotation here by Gravity, though, coming underneath the turret. It's really just a nice rotation to pick themselves up a nice, uncontested turret.
Very well done. All right, so, oh, wow, the flash engage. Hello. They find Baby. In comes Hecarim. How about that for decisiveness? Kez to knock a few back, but still a 1-for-0 off that turret kill.
Wow, so normally we try and prep these team fights because we can see the rotations and we know when a team's about to engage. Keen's engagement range is huge. It's about 2,000 range because both times he's flash ulted to go in for it. They very quickly pick up a kill on a Baby and try and rotate for the Dragon, but because so much was invested, you can see TDK trying to take turrets and lane pushes on the other side.
Doing what they can to push it. Of course, there's not a lot of wave clear on this Gravity lineup. Even Jinx is not great at it at this stage of the game. So maybe pushing can go well. Seraph once again looking for a fight onto Hanser. A lot of transfusions used. Not quite going to get it. And he refuses to Sanguine Pool.
He was saving it in case he really needed it, as all Vladimir should.
True. Kez gets a buff steal in the same time. They realize where move was and that no one could help that one. So TDK making the best of that situation. You said take some objectives. Got the red buff, not too bad. Nice hook on the ward. Bunny Fufu not going to feel good about this one. And the flay backwards as he's brought in Latman to help.
It's a long way home for Bunny Fufu. He does have his flash. That's all he wants to do.
And the ult bought him enough time. Hook's not going to land. Nice try, though.
Yeah, they managed to burn some nice summoners there just for a good back disruption. This will also give them freedom to push up the lane where Altec is already coming back to it. So overall, solid play by TDK. And honestly, just they're down 2 dragons, but because of the turret lead, this is a winnable game here for TDK and their 3 subs.
It absolutely is. These guys are up 1,000 gold over Gravity right here. Gravity their week in basically consisted of playing the 2 newcomers to the North American LCS with one of the more changed returning rosters of the NA teams. In fact, I guess with 2 replacements, it's the most changed of the NA LCS rosters of the returning teams.
Yep.
So kind of the newest teams in a way, the ones matching up here, and TDK actually getting the better of Gravity, much like NME was.
Yeah. Looking to be another close game for Gravity.
Definitely.
Which we're going to have to see now, no St. Vicious, no Cop, or the shot calling in the middle of the game. How can they make moves and make big plays? Oh boy.
That Chomper was big. The headbutt pulverize helping as well. That Lantern would have saved him, but a misstep by Latman means the kill comes into Bunny Fufu. Altek getting a second assist. Bot lane turret goes down. Gravity turning it right back around now.
Yeah, don't step on the Chomper. Bad to do against Jinx and duels right there. So Latman ends up paying heavily for this one, and now the ultimate is up from Keen's Malphite. They might look to go.
Man. Yeah, every time he's on screen, I'm just like, is someone going to die in the next 2 seconds? Oftentimes that answer is yes.
Once he's got an assist, but it's always really close.
Yeah.
Potential is there. I feel it.
The health bar gets smaller at the very least.
He almost killed Bishu there.
We missed it, but you know what? It's okay, Observers. I forgive you.
We'll get a replay. Maybe. It wasn't a kill, so maybe it's not worth it. He did not burn his Ignite, but he burned the heal from Bishu.
All right, heal for Malphite ulti. No CDR on Malphite. He does go Abyssal Sword Shoes, and yeah, none of that mana regen stuff. Well, double Doran's Ring, I guess, was his mana regen of choice. My mind said Chalice, but Keen knows better than I do. Double Doran's Ring was the build. Mid lane turret still taking damage. Wow, Seraph without MR takes a fair bit of damage from those Qs. But this turret very nearly dead. Keen's wave clear not great.
Yeah, definitely not if you can't get a melee range for the ground slam. Just thinking of these team compositions as they progress too. Oh great, we get the replay. Hoorah! Because of the heal, all the spells are gone for Keen, and he can't chase through the gravity field. But that's the burst level. So basically Keen either needs more burst or an assistant to come with him on his unstoppable force journeys. Or even just a Jinx rocket would have been able to do it. But it's clearly not 100-0 from the Malphite, but it's close.
Yeah.
Also, you can see the Distortion Boot spot already.
Nice.
For more flash ultimates. It is a thing, especially we have very low ping environments and very fast reaction times from our pro players here. So the fast unstoppable force from max range is a very flashable spell. It's much less flashable if you basically flash on top of someone and then use your ultimate. So almost like an Alistar Pulverize that does more damage is basically what Keen is doing. This team now has 2 Alistar Pulverizes, or 2 Malphite ults, depending on how you want to look at it.
I tend to think like Alistar WQ is like more like an unstoppable force. I'm gonna say it's more like Malphite ult, just one is like way less damage. Either way, definitely a scary lineup here. Haunter's ulti even somewhat similar, right? Pick an area, they all get feared instead of knocked up. 3 ways to click an area and stun a bunch of people. Latman dealing with move a little bit here, but the top lane getting pressured by a fair number of the gravity members. Altek and Bunny Fufu doing what they can for turret demolition. Latman wave clears a bit. Move comes in, goes for the flash. A flash wave, baby gets over the wall. But Keen is around with the ulti from Malphite. Does he even want to use it? The answer is no, because Latman's still around. Wow, more come in. Haunter picks up 1, and Gravity gotta be careful. Bishu turns 1 back around. It's a 2-for-1 in Gravity's favor, though, as they look to limp away from this one.
Keen still has his ultimate if he wants to turn it. So they're using this for a bit of pressure. It was a nice start to the fight there by Gravity, rotating through the jungle right there with all the smattering of wards. Basically, the amount of pressure Move was able to create by jumping in there was enough to close it. Now, here comes the dive. Maybe a Malphite to follow.
Bit of damage on Kez, bit of damage on Seraph, but Seraph really unperturbed at all. He's going to have a ton of damage put down to this one. No ulti for himself, but they force back Bunny Fufu. Seraph's going to live through the Ignite. Keen goes in towards Bishu, but as we mentioned before, he needs a helper for that to work. The ulti wasted, doing no damage. Out they go.
It felt like Keen kept waiting for the perfect moment to use Unstoppable Force, but TDK just wasn't giving it to him. So finally, at the end of the day, he uses it on something that would never result in a kill. Keen really just not going for the easy Malphite ultimate that wasn't perfect and ends up wasting it and then having to burn his flash as a runaway skill. So
yeah,
ultimately, Gravity does benefit from that, though, mainly because of Move's nice start.
And TDK managed to answer back, though, off the ill-fated second attempt dive, and mid lane outer turret does go down, so TDK up 3 turrets to 2 in this one. But as everyone heals back up, Dragon 3 is on the table for Gravity. It's spawned now. And Move has a couple of deep wards to help him clear this away. TDK, though, wanted to answer the ward control right back.
Yeah, and Bishu's in the midst of a pretty big power spike right now. Having his death cap completed, he hits like an absolute truck, but his summoners and ultimate are down, so he's a little bit vulnerable right now.
Oh, no.
Move falling behind and still squishy. Who's going to go in for this Dragon? The ultimates just aren't there for the majority of the teams.
TDK is around. Dragon's still at 2,000 health. They're going to go in for the attempt. The smite for Kez going to knock actually Lee Sin in, but still picked up a good body slam flash, and Move's got nowhere to go. Picked up by Latman. 3 kills now for TDK. They're within 500 gold now.
We talked in Champions Select about initiation from TDK and how it may not be the most reliable, but the one reliable thing they would have would be the flash body slam from Kez. That's what they do right there to secure the kill onto move after they were able to take the dragon, and now TDK looking to use that power spike from Victor and the initiation that is on a 5-minute cooldown from their jungler in the flash body slam to create a bigger opportunity. They go for the turret. Gravity defense.
We'll see if Gravity can defend this one. 4v5. Move is just now respawned and walking over. Altec, the sole wave clear, doing the best he can to remove these minions. Does okay, and Static Shift helps as well. Keen looking for the flank attempt. Moves nearby. Can they land it?
The respect is very real from TDK. They don't, more importantly than just stopping the Malphite, TDK is trying to stop the backup for the Malphite.
Yeah.
So these fights are very interesting because based on the team compositions, TDK needs to be very spread out. The actual circle of power for Malphite and Hecarim is a small radius.
Yeah.
So as long as TDK spreads out, Gravity has difficulty womboing all three of their very small circle ultimates that they have in there. In order to make a really good play here, Gravity will have to manipulate the Fog of War very well and hopefully somehow funnel TDK through a choke.
Yeah.
Or they'll just get a super fed Jinx in the late game and crush it.
Well, that's true. There's definitely a lot of powerful win conditions for Gravity, and yeah, knocking turrets down very easy for a big Jinx. Gravity sitting on a 2,000 gold lead are in the driver's seat right here. TDK though, I have seen so many games of them being behind and then Seraph just goes and just destroys everybody by himself. He's stacked a bunch of armor. He wants to be able to survive Hanser. He's going for a Luden's Echo. And now Latman forced to run away from Hanser.
Hanser's still trying to power up. The Cinderhulk Hecarim takes a little bit longer to get super strong. Can still do some work with the Cinderhulk, but he's not going to be one-shotting Latman by any stretch of the imagination. I am interested in the Aether Wisp there by Seraph as well, though. Probably, as you said, Luden's Echo going in for Vladimir. Just build it on anybody at this point.
And he gets to run faster during Sanguine Pool, and he has very low cooldowns, so you're going to stack that up reasonably quickly.
Yeah, I've seen it in a few different situations. Interesting to forego. A lot of times you'll see the Zonias, and then you almost immediately want to get into either Magic Resist or Magic Pen. Sometimes Abyssal serves both of those niches. A lot of physical damage coming through, though. Malphite's not going to be ulting him, so Seraph doesn't have a need to get the Magic Resistance in this game, and he just wants to do a whole bunch of damage. Zonias, once again, unless a Malphite's ulting him, he doesn't need to immediately Zonias for any high bits of damage. So with those things in mind, Seraph's build choice is actually pretty cool right there, trying to go for Ludens and absolutely maximizing his DPS while minimizing more defensive capabilities.
150 armor, 1,800 health. That's one of the tankier champions on the map. I mean, for reference, 2,300 health on Hanser, and he's built practically full tank with that Cinderhulk. So yeah, not the hugest disparity. We'll see as time goes on.
It's funny, certain targets will need magic resistance against the Malphite, but that is the only real magic damage threat coming from that entire team. So if you're a target that you think is immune to the full burst from Malphite, Seraph's doing a very wise thing, because if Keen does ult him, A, he could reaction it with a pool of blood and completely shut it down, and B, even if he dies to it, maybe TDK wins the fight anyway, because that means Victor is safe to just do a bunch of damage.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, Jat. It's going to be fun seeing what Seraph can do with this one. We don't see a lot of top lane Vladimir. A lot of people hate on the champion. The lack of mobility summoners, often referred to as the core weakness, that he can't get through those team fights and do the things he wants to do. Luden's Echo, I guess maybe an adaptation to help cover the fact that he's not running Ghost because he's running Teleport.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast as Vladimir. Any of those mid-range mages tend to need some help getting to the targets they want. Same could be said for Bishu's Victor here. He chose to run heal. Does give some mobility. Gravity right now playing slightly better in the vision game. They are controlling Baron. And as Dragon spawns in 2 minutes, you might see them control that some more as well.
Yeah, there's a distinct lack of wards in the Dragon area right now because Baron is receiving the majority of the ward attention. I really think the team that gets the ward around Dragon first could hold a big pick edge here. Whether it be Kez, whose flash is going to be back up for his body slam initiation, or Keen, who may finally get off that one ultimate. He has two real targets. He's want to go on Victor or Lucian. I feel like Victor is the biggest one at this point. If Keen can get his unstoppable force on a Bishu and anyone can follow up on him so they can burst him down before he gets damage off, that's Gravity's key to winning a team fight.
We'll see if he can land those initiations. Then Gravity's key going to be important here. It's only a 1,000 gold disparity, much like Gravity's game yesterday against Enemy Esports. It's a very close game where the right choice will win you the battle. And with Gravity playing a bunch of backline divers, the coordination between Hanser and Keen was actually very crucial. And them not getting Otter together was part of the reason they had actually lost that game to Enemy Esports. And now they've got a very scary Bishu, a pretty scary Latman, a pretty scary Seraph. Which of these threats do you coordinate onto? As you talk about the key to their engagements, Gravity needing to choose well. Luden's Echo done onto Seraph. I feel like he's going to be such a threat. Hanser just does not have any real magic resist. Thankfully, Move does have an Aegis to help protect from that somewhat in a team fight.
Pretty mirrored strategies here. Trinkets are exactly the same across the board.
Yeah.
With the mid turret already down, though, Gravity's hoping that they get they have home guard teleport that can come in as well. Gravity might look to flank this one. Here we go.
Choppers are down. TP coming in from the Heck Room. Hook's not quite going to land, but Move takes a ton of damage, but there comes the engage!
They got Bishu!
The wombo is on top of everybody. Bishu does get eliminated without getting to ult, flash, heal, or anything. Latman trying to run away. Bunny Fufu in the front lines has lost the ulti. Ignite is on, and the Alistair looks like he will just barely live. Latman gets a shutdown in a Heck Room. A bunch of kills for TDK, despite the fact that Bishu went down. A 3-for-1.
They got Bishu, and therefore they were not able to get anyone else. Seraph did so much work in that fight with that Luden's Echo and his Vladimir just going through everyone else as Bishu was caught up in the unstoppable storm of Malphite. Really interesting right there. Bunny Fufu took so much damage before the fight. They completely tunneled onto Bishu, and yes, Bishu was the key to the fight before Gravity, but they used everything on him. Left Altec to just have to run away, and TDK, they were the ones who played that fight just right.
Yes, they were. So the multiple threats, you can only delete one. The other two took over. Seraph, 1-0 and 2. Latman, 2-2 and 4. We can watch this engage one more time.
Yeah, so Bunny Fufu's low at the start. Move gets chunked before he can do anything. And then, yeah, 3 people do the flash in, and then the Alistair doesn't peel Seraph off whatsoever. So basically, Seraph pushes them completely off the fight, meaning Malphite already used his damage. Heckram's a tank. Alistair's a tank. Who is there to actually kill the other threat in Latman once they blow him up? Nobody, because no one was peeling for Altec and he couldn't get in the backside.
Yeah.
So the battle lines didn't exist for Gravity right there. All dive, no protection, and TDK wins with superior team fight placement.
Yeah, really good team fight placement overall. And it's interesting to see that Alistair was in fact used as an offensive engage tool in that fight. You pick Jinx, a pretty, bad self-peeling champion, on the spectrum there, with a team that's going to dive on in. No one's going to keep her alive. Smart choice by Seraph. Zoned her out by himself. Good job, Seraph. And then cleanup crew was quite nice. Okay.
Yeah, think of it another way. They used Malphite all on top of itself. You don't need to do that. You don't need to knock them up twice if you're going to instantly kill them. Bunny Fufu, unless they can get the whole team in those knockups, needs to be back and helping out Altec a little bit. This gives TDK a window to try and come back now. Especially because when Bishu got blown up, he didn't even use the summoners. So he has them this time if he can actually reactive flash something.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do it. He's got distortion boots himself, actually. Bishu looking to match those flashes sometimes. Invested in this one. Righteous Glory pop. Bishu takes a lantern out. Now Kez the man closest to the rest of the team. Hanser cannot find the engage, though. Move's a very squishy champion, by the way, in this Lee Sin. He's at under 2,000 health. He's got the lock, he's got the sight stone. It's all utility for him.
I really thought when he was picking the Lee Sin against Gragas, he'd be going for Cinderhulk here. Especially just late game utility-wise. He's going to be taking far too much damage by going Warrior, and that's what we're seeing in a lot of these team fights, is he's blowing up and not really able to have any use. Aside from that one nice double kill he forced in the top lane, it's been a lot of Move just getting chunked immediately and having to run away.
Yeah, TDK has a lot of ambient AoE damage. If it was like a bunch of assassins, like maybe I'd understand, because like Zed won't ever hit him, but Seraph's going to press E, that'll deal damage. Kez on Gragas going to tend to do that. Bishu can oftentimes land his E as well, and Latman, it's not really wasted time to kill Lee Sin in a team fight, so you're right, easy to kind of hit Move in these battles. And right now, though, Gravity's still feeling like they can try to control Baron. They force the scrying orb usage now. Seraph getting a bit surrounded. He's very much by himself. Nice chain CC. Never gets a chance to Sanguine Pool unless he predicted the head, but nicely done by Gravity. They've got some room to make some plays.
Yeah, now they can actually kind of force onto this Baron because there's no Seraph to zone off the Altec in an actual fight. Let's see if Keen gets in range. Really nice kiting so far by TDK. Gravity not able to pull the trigger. They have a small window here, 20 seconds until Seraph can teleport in.
22 seconds now. Kez going to put another lantern on down. Altec not hitting Baron much. Now he goes in for this one. Hanser taking a bit of damage on the backside. Latman gets hit. There's the flash pulverize in ahead, but down he goes in the Keen backline and dive. Looks for Bishu, gets the fear, but not yet the kill. Kez flashes the wall. More chase coming through. Chaos Storm only deters, doesn't kill. 2 for 0 overall.
Yet no Baron for Gravity, but they still played that one quite well. You could see the mid-game learnings they picked up right there. Let's space out our ultimates a little bit. One for Latman, the other one for Bishu. Keen doesn't fully kill him, but at least he takes him out of the fight. They can then take down the AD carry, and one kill kind of snowballed into the other. That was never going to be a Baron for Gravity. That was all about the fight right afterwards because they have so much initiation potential. This time they spaced out a little bit better and got some kills.
Alright, so the extra pickup on the Lucian buys him some time. A big wave top lane gets cleared by Altec. He's sitting at 364 minions. That is a fed Jinx. I mean, she is online and ready to kill champions. The bot lane had went to Seraph, though. These guys, you can see them kind of putting their farm in different places. Lemon getting a fair amount of CS, but Altec just getting so much more. It was one of his best traits on Winter Fox, that Altec was always able to find so much farm in these long games, typically hitting 10 CS a minute as an AD carry, which we don't see that often.
Yeah, one of Altec's biggest strengths for sure. Is that farm. If Seraph wasn't caught out in that situation, so obviously a mistake by Seraph being in that place, Gravity needs to continue to find catches like that if they don't want to lose to this TDK team. It'd be pretty remarkable for TDK to be a challenger team to qualify for the LCS, to have your roster not even here, just pick up 3 players and then have Seraph and Kez get a win in the LCS.
I mean, they put a close game up against Team Liquid, a team very well regarded and defending 3rd place from NA LCS in spring. That was close from TDK for a while. This one certainly very close up against Gravity. I mean, it looks like this lineup can absolutely compete with some of these, as players have called it, mid-tier teams.
They're competing right now with Gravity. And Gravity's another team we need to get some more time to judge where they'll rank in the NA LCS here. These 2 roster moves, that's a lot removed from the team without St. Vicious and Cop on the battlefield with them. St. Vicious gone completely, Cop now a coach, helping with picks and bans. Yeah, an incredibly close game. This is where Gravity and honestly TDK, both teams need to have that mid-game shot call. The scaling from the Victor and the Vladimir is pretty immense, whereas Move is only going to be getting weaker and weaker. Keen, unless he's one-shotting, isn't doing much sustained damage. He's putting a lot of weight on Hanser and Altec's shoulders from Gravity.
Well, Altec's used to trying to be one of the big primary damage sources for his team. He kind of had that role with Winter Fox to a certain extent. We said on Gravity, you know, can you prove that you are one of these top 80 carries?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow, okay, well, Funny People didn't think he needed it, got destroyed. TDK, now the team with the advantage, they're going to get Dragon off that.
That's that late game Victor damage for you. Bunny Fufu not respecting it, no magic resistance on him because of the Righteous Glory. Could have lived, but he would have been pushed off the Dragon regardless. Here, at least Bishu's ultimate is down, but now Gravity's put in a really difficult bind as TDK looks to force this.
Yeah.
No flash body slam for the initiation, but they still have the normal body slam and a Vladimir.
Flash play, Altec gonna get nothing happening to him. Seraph loses halving his health, still no MR. Keen does so much damage, forced to pool early. Hanser getting hit up right now. In goes Keen to the backline, still can't find Seraph. Looks for Bishu, can't get him either. The dodging away, and down goes Keen. In the over-aggression move, kicks them all backwards. Now Altec to carry the fight. Good dodge by Baby. Stops the reset that Jinx could have used to kill off Latman right afterwards.
Sometimes these games can come down to a pixel. That sidestep by Baby could have been 2 or 3 kills for Altec if he got excited and chased after a few more kills. Even so, Gravity looking to turn something out of nothing here. Seraph could always teleport back in. This is a risk. This is a big risk.
Huge risk off the recall, but they think they can do it. TP comes in now from Seraph. Word over the wall, it's going to be the disengage. Gravity still missing their mid laner for 10 more seconds. TDK are the stronger team on the map right now. They take the scuttler. They don't get rid of all the wards, but now maybe they start Baron.
Yeah.
Attempt number 18.
Back and forth and back again. One of these days, someone's going to get it. Altec a little bit low on mana. There's 3
A
people
lot of
that can't
gravity's
come in.
missing.
Haunter's going to home guard in. That's all they're going to have, though. Altec and a horse.
TP started, they knock Kez right into the Baron Pit. He's down to 1,000 health. Bunny Fufu forced to flash away. He's already popped his own ulti. Haunter on the one side, move there as well. TDK back to disengaging. The Baron baits just turned into damage dealt and recalls afterwards. Move, be careful.
This is kind of the game we were expecting.
Yep.
We didn't expect incredibly decisive play over objectives, but everybody wants this one thing. Eventually, someone will get that thing. It's Baron. TDK trying to defend this one.
Keen ult is up in about 10 or like 3 seconds right now. 4,000 HP on Baron. Kez on the back wall. Keen flashes in. He goes for the engage. They find Bishu. Move gets the kill. Altec versus Seraph. Knocked back by Kez. This side of the fight's going well for Gravity. Baby, the 3rd kill picked up. Seraph nearly gone. Kez and Seraph is trying to get away from this one. It's already been a 4-for-1. Kez goes down. Seraph gonna drop to Haunter. That's the ace, and Gravity have control.
The ambient damage from Haunter right there interrupted Seraph's back, and then he able to walk into the brush and finish him at the end of that one. Altec additionally pushing away on Jinx, and finally some movement in the gold differential this game. Gravity with the ace and the long 38-minute death timers are taking a ton of stuff here.
Baron picked up mid lane inhibitor turret and inhibitor itself. They get Baron buff. Oh god, okay. Onto Bunny Fufu as well. He just respawned, so a 5-man Baron and a whole ton of map control right now. They might even get top turret. Jeez, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, Trinity Force, level 18, and Baron on Hecarim. Yeah, we're going to have to see that one again to really figure out exactly what happened, because the fight was spread out so far. I think the main thing is Altec just stayed alive and actually was able to win the duel against Seraph, which meant he could continue on the rest of the fight, but tracking the ultimate cooldowns throughout this entire thing, you can't honestly track all of these things at once. So Seraph goes in for Altec, but this time watch, Bunny Fufu is actually peeling off for him on the side. Headbutt pulverizes Seraph down, and then allows Altec to stay alive. Doesn't get that one. Oh my god,
30
this
health.
fight. Meanwhile, on the backside, because so much attention was put into trying to finish Altec, this time Gravity takes it down on the other side. It's crazy to figure out exactly what happened there.
Bishu got one shot and Seraph was zoned away, not actually quite killing Altec, so Latman was just a formality to clean up at that point. Good fight by Gravity, a lot gained by these guys, and 5,500 gold lead plus 2 minutes left of Baron buff. Gravity can do a lot of work here.
Very big Bunny Fufu as well. Iron Elixir, everyone able to dive in after, but it's still about that crisp execution of the dive. There is now a Negatron Cloak on to Bishu, so this will be interesting. The split push is nice by Gravity. By keeping this here, they make it so a damage dealing threat has to be away from the main squad, which makes the assassination of the Malphite stronger.
Yeah, it does. And it's going to mean that TDK gives up bot lane tier 2. All the turrets outside the base have been killed. Gravity making those bricks tumble to the ground. Mid lane inhibitor still dead. Hecarim still split pushing the top lane. He's going to rotate back on over.
The attempts at TDK and Gravity chance. And then TSM just for...
Because always.
Just for fun.
It's North America, guys.
Yeah, honestly, one inhibitor down, Baron buff, Bunny Fufu is huge. You can dive with an ulted Alistar quite well. So this turret's actually not as safe as it would be. Bunny Fufu got turret aggro.
Look for Kez a little bit as well. Bunny Fufu, yeah, taking a ton of damage. In comes to the team to the back line. They don't quite get anything at the start. Flash Pulverize still does not find kills, and Gravity stuck inside the base. One kill picked up for Bishu. The turret does go down. Is there counter engage? Oh, wow, Keen gets one. Altec misses, but they get a second just the same. A 2-for-1. Into the base they go. Second on him will go down. Gravity with a numbers lead, but Sarah has something to say about that one. Takes 1.5 million damage. They try to re-engage back at Altec. The hook on a Haunter. He might go down. Move is squishy, but they can't get the damage onto him just yet. Oh! In goes, picks up Latman. Wow! A move makes an LCS big play at the end of that one, and now Altec is here to clean up the base with Haunter. Seraph needs home guards to try to defend this one. Heals back up, but can he defend the game in time? Brings Altec to half. Pop Sanguine Pool. Here comes the hook as well. It's gonna be close. Seraph gets one. He looks for number 2, trying to knock down Keen. Moves still around though and gets the Nexus. GG for Gravity.
42 minutes of fury this was between Gravity and TDK. You asked if there was counter-engage at the end. Yes, there was a lot of counter-engage. Yes. Malphite finally found the right ultimate. Keen waiting so long in all of these fights to get the right Malphite ultimate off, and he finally does, to just blow some people up on TDK. It wasn't pretty.
Nope.
But it counts.
It definitely does count. So, TDK, so far this roster, bringing games very close against veteran teams Liquid and Gravity. Gravity, a tough, hard-fought loss over Enemy Esports yesterday. A tough, hard-fought win over TDK here. And they join one of the 5 other teams that won in one of the standings.
Yeah, and I have to say, Alltech played this game very well on Jinx. Throughout all the chaos, he was able to keep himself farmed, keep himself quite safe as well. 3, 1, and 7, 474 CS in a 42-minute game.
Yeah.
Is a very large number, and you could see the power of his Jinx coming through with some monstrous crits late in the game, even to the Ninja Tabid, Zhonya's Hourglass, Vladimir. He was able to duel those out. So a very nice job there by the new acquisition for Gravity Alltech.
Unfortunately, as we see, where we had seen TDK on the screen, Seraph in particular, the Vlad split push unfortunately didn't quite work for them. Couldn't get enough pressure down. The hard engages, the split up teams, something that Gravity seemed to be able to utilize quite well. Dive in the back line, blow someone up, continue on from there. The fact that their threats were just a little bit tankier, I suppose, helped a little bit in that,
yeah.
Well, Hanser got to keep cleaning people up after the initial dive.
Yeah, and even harkening back to Champion Select, we talked about the range of the initiations for these teams. TDK was a relatively mid-range team, whereas Gravity was an all-in dive team, but their initiation came outside of the initial threat range of TDK. So you have the range in which TDK can do damage and the range in which Gravity can initiate. One is larger than the other, and it did end up winning because they were able to use their initiations at the right time.
Yeah, and a well-coordinated dive at the very end right there. We saw actually just, I think, a slightly improved game from Gravity, right? A lot of good rotations to the mid lane. They knocked those turrets down slowly but surely. Good job by them. Bunny Fufu making sure he had pulled aggro at the very end there. Just tanks the inhibitor turret. And even though those things shred armor, they don't shred Alistar damage reduction. So actually, he's practically immune to the effects that thing even has on him. Allowed the rest of the team to funnel on in through. Even Move managed to make a really big play at the very end there, landing a long-range Q to execute, I believe, Latman under the Nexus itself. And did just enough for Gravity to win.
For as squishy as Move was, he did end the game 5, 4, and 8, so victory for Gravity.
Second most kills on the team for the jungle Lee Sin. Props to Move, props to Gravity. For now, we're going to send it down to Riv, who's standing by on the red side.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day, as always. Going to get a quick interview here with Bunny Fufu before we throw the analyst desk to close out the day. A victory coming up for you guys. It played out very well. Coming into the summer split, though, you lost Cop in the bottom lane. You now have Alltech. How's that synergy kind of working out, and what's it like to kind of lose Cop and what you guys had down there?
It's nice because we actually still have Cop. He's there like every step of the way, and all of us are friends, so he helps us. Like after every game, he'll just like help us watch over the lane, the late game, everything. And Alltech, I've been friends with him for a while too, so the whole change is like really good, I feel.
Right on, and also another new member to the team. Move is there, sometimes kind of getting you guys into trouble, but also making those plays in the end of the game. How are you liking that synergy?
Still working on the communication part. First time ever being like hearing some Korean mid-game, so that's a little different, but I feel like in the long run, we'll definitely get it patted down and going good.
Try to get those few words that he can just use for you guys and get the easy plays in. Where you guys came out very strong in this game, picking up the win, but Cloud9 and Team Liquid next week, it's definitely not going to be an easy week. How's the prep going to go, and how are you feeling about those games?
We actually feel like we slightly underperformed this weekend, so hopefully next weekend we can have a better showing.
All right, Bunny Fufu, thanks, man, very much. Congratulations on the win, and we're going to throw it to the analyst desk to break down the rest of the day's games.
Thank you, Riv. As he mentioned, they feel they slightly underperformed, Bunny Fufu, that is. I have to say I feel the same. This weekend, a tough loss for them yesterday, but sloppy nonetheless. And same thing here. Even in the win, it wasn't necessarily as methodical as the TSM victory in the game prior.
It's one of those games where the team that won wasn't one step ahead. They were one throw behind. Because there were parts where it's like, oh, I didn't Alistar ulti and I died, and then now I have to give up this pressure point. Oh, I mispositioned here, I got Malphite ulti blown up. So definitely a very sloppy game, and they have a lot of things they can tighten up. And like they said, communication and working with Move more and more. and the fact that they have Cop to like facilitate the bottom lane relationship and stuff like that, this team's just going to hopefully get better for their sake.
Yeah, this is a team that went through a lot of changes. A bunch of teenagers. They subbed out a couple players that were very important, the veteran players, and not really convinced by move yet.
Yeah.
Any guy that picks Lee Sin when you have your pick of any jungle champions, like Rek'Sai's still up and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and speaking to the changes that they made, though, bringing Altec in, I do feel that he's been performing pretty well. And in this game as well was kind of the rock for them on Jinx, that consistent high threat damage there with enormous CS through the middle and late game. We saw, essentially if he didn't go down within the first few seconds of a fight, that was their ability to win.
Yeah,
He's had really quick flashes, quick spell shields. His reaction time is really good, basically. I like his 1v1 there with the flame choppers, immediate reaction, very accurate as well. So, yeah, good things from Altec so far.
Yeah, and I like his positioning too. Yesterday, when he was playing Sivir, just, I guess, kind of auto-spacing with the Sivir, using his ultimate and just being able to skirt around the fight. He was basically the shining light of this team, both games that we saw him. And he had great score lines both times, great CS scores. Now, right now, it's like, is Gravity going to have to play more around their AD carry than they're used to because they had Cop before and he's more of a passive guy? I don't know. It's going to have to shore up and see over the couple weeks.
Not entirely convinced by the mid-Mao fight. Although the laning phase seemed to go all right, the underwhelming burst coming from the Mao fight was, left something to be desired in that,
DFG.
Okay, he blew all of his spells, and now he's just a giant rock running around in the team fight.
Oh, that one fight where he just blew up Bishu was he did his job. DFG, though.
I think you got the nail on the head right there with DFG. That was a component that really made AP Malphite fun and actually be able to 100% people. Now, as they kept saying, he needs a little assistant to come around for that little extra oomph.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, grab somebody, he doesn't have somebody immediately capitalize. It's a shotgun with only one shell. And then you're left there just trying to beat him with a stick, basically.
Yeah, so not
It's kind of like
entirely.
it's like a front-loaded muzzle gun where you're just like, oh, got the bullet in there, boom. Oh, wait. All right, let's get it back down there.
A very long wait. Yeah, so not
Stand
entirely
right there,
convinced
keep
there, but
staying
it's good to see them trying new things. Now, over on the side of TDK, I do have to say, it is nice to have seen Seraph, and it was mentioned in game, being a very different Seraph from when we saw him play on CLG. He has now won both of his lanes so far this weekend. This guy is playing with a lot more confidence. He is not afraid to fight. It looks like this could be a great split for him as an individual, and when we see the rest of the roster arrive, maybe this team, has an upward swing.
Makes me really sad that they don't have all of their starting players. They didn't, management didn't get the paperwork or whatever to have everybody here at the beginning. Because, yeah, you're right. The components that are going to stay on this team, they've been showing good signs.
Yeah, I want them in as soon as possible, and I know TDK does too. Because as soon as they get in, they're still going to need weeks like this where they're going to fall short. And then by week 4, we're like, all right, the season is almost halfway done. And your team is just now getting together and not just now working together. So that's something that TDK, they are going to have to try to make like a mid-season surge and synergize very quickly. So that's a task they're going to have to be up to.
All right, well, with that game, week 1 is in the books, so let's see how the teams are lined up. Sharing first place, it's Counter Logic Gaming and Team Liquid at the top of the table. Then we've got the majority of the league tied for third, each with 1 win and 1 loss. And tied for 9th place are Team Dragon Knights and Team 8 with only 2 losses. Now, from a field of excellent performances, though, we've pulled together 5 players who stood out in their positions. Let's start in the top lane with Quas.
And Quas opened up the game for his team yesterday and today. Those great choke point Rumble ultimates as well as the Gnar ultimates yesterday really just gave Liquid the advantage they needed and snowballed the games. And the Rumble ultimate was a slingshot and a rubber band from a deficit.
All right, and then we move into the jungle and we find Dignitas's Azingi.
Speaking of slingshots, this guy really stepped up for the squad today. He had a huge Zac game, basically took over the entire game versus CLG. And you really have to give him props for his performance today.
Absolutely well played there by him. Our OP mid laner this week is Pobelter. The newest addition to CLG looks to be working out, only dying twice all weekend for a 16.5 KDA and leading his team to a share of first place. And then, of course, dominating the bot lane as AD carry is his teammate Doublelift.
Yeah, Doublelift currently leads the kills for week 1 here, but also his Ash Arrows opened up a game where the team wasn't able to find an advantage off of a lane swap. So he created advantages for his team, and then today got turrets down bottom, split pushed, and did a really good job of opening up the map for his team.
And finally, in that support role, we have Xpecial.
Yeah, TSM support, the all-star support, really able to pull them back, get the win today for TSM to go 1-1 on the week.
Liquid.
Used to be TSM.
Excuse me.
We keep mentioning it.
You're stuck in the past.
Because they went 2-0. Excuse me. Team Liquid undefeated this week. Yeah, good job, Xpecial.
Yeah,
not coming back from that one.
Some pretty stellar.
Two teams actually, because Zingy's win was also against Cloud9, not CLG.
I let that one slide. All right. Well, at the end of the day, one player stood out and claimed our most valuable player honor for week 1. It is Quas. He helped carry his team with 2 great games to finish with a perfect 2-0 start to the split. Now, yesterday in particular, he was instrumental in helping his team come back with a couple of huge Gnar ults, as you see here.
Yeah, I already talked about it, so I'll let Kobe redeem himself a little bit. He's on Liquid, by the way.
Which teams are playing?
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, Quas did play very well. You know, was and is that rock for this team that we seem to always go back to whenever we do look at Liquid having some trouble.
And coming off of MSI, top laners that can carry their team seem to be very important, and Quas is stepping up as that. And after week 1, I want to see more players in the top lane step up and carry their team to victory, because I think it's a great formula for success in the meta.
All right, well, that's just about going to do it for us. The action kicks off next week with a totally suitable for work episode of Primetime League, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Then the LCS returns starting in Europe with Elements versus Giants Gaming. After that, first place Fnatic takes on Rocat. Then we'll bring the action back here to North America on Saturday with another full day of matches, beginning with NA Esports battling Team Liquid, followed by Cloud9 versus Gravity. And we'll conclude the day with Team Dignitas versus Team Dragon Knights. Tune in for that starting at noon Pacific Daylight Time, 9 p.m. Central European Summertime. All right, that's our show. So for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching and good night.
Second day of the summer split here in the North American LCS, and we are ready for the first game of the day. Maple Street not doing too much damage. Looks like Liquid can re-enter this fight perfectly, and they're gonna start melting down Team 8 here, and Team Liquid take down Team 8. They feel like if it's getting stolen, he doesn't have enough protection in the mid lane, and it's gonna be right. It can't be a surprise. Oh, the hugs.
I'm looking at L-Star. Oh. Watch it. There's Eve. Back up. Only P3 I got you. Yeah. Am I going L-Star right now? Okay. Yep. L-Star. Cut back. Hey. Stay together. On the tanks. Keep kiting back. Eve. I'll get him. Okay, can we go Baron?
Counter Logic Gaming walk away from week 1, 2-0.
What's a good song, guys?
About a week ago.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Oh wait, no, yeah, we can do that one. Start from the bottom, now we're here. I'll do the beat.
Santorin takes away the drag, but the battle has begun. Bind that Tyrus into the back line goes. Players are going to get stunned up though, and Victor's going to have a field day on this one.
TSM will find their first win of the split.
It's going to be close. Seraph gets 1. He looks for number 2, trying the knockdown Keed. Moves still around though and gets the Nexus. GG for Gravity.